It feels so good to be back on there on a magnificent Thursday evening. How's everyone doing? It's the Teddy Bear, and welcome to Traxx Radio. And today's artist spotlight, 4-time Grammy nominee, multi-platinum selling saxophonist, Lord have mercy, the incredibly talented Mr. Boney James joins us today as we have the pleasure of debuting his new hit album, Detour, the follow-up from his 2020 album, Solid. So on behalf of the Teddy Bear and Traxx, it is my honor to welcome back to Traxx Radio, Mr. Boney James. My brother, how have you been doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is truly all mine. I can't believe it's been 3 years since Solid, man.
Wow. Yeah, I can't. Well, we all lost a couple of years in there, didn't we?
I know, because during that time, we were being quarantined. You were doing a lot of wonderful live as far as performances on as far as Instagram.
Yeah, I think I did like 30 or 40 of those Facebook Live mini concerts every Friday, Solid Fridays we called it, and it was really a special thing. I think, it definitely kept me sane.
That makes both of us. I must say, I'm kind of jaded because Solid was an incredible album, track for track. It was incredible. And then you go back into the studio and you create this masterpiece, Detour, and then to have the incredibly talented Miss Lalah Hathaway. Oh, Jesus Christ. How did you pull it off? Because Coastin is really just burning up the charts.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. Well, it was a really exciting thing for me as well. I've been trying to work with Lalah for many, many years, and we were never able to connect to do a song together. And my friend and collaborator, Jairus Mosey, sent me this music, and I worked on it a little bit, and then I thought, this should be a vocal, and I wonder who can help finish this song. So I was able to connect with Lalah, and she responded to the music right away, and then she sort of wrote this thing and came over to my studio in the backyard and had her little, she sang essentially along with her phone what her idea was. I said, I loved it right away. I said, let's record it right now. So we just spent the next few hours layering all these vocals and recording her lead. And like you said, it's been a big hit. So I'm excited about it.
One of the things that I've always admired about you, and we've talked about this extensively the last time I had you on the show, is that everything comes to you in a very natural, organic fashion. And at the same time, you continually push yourself beyond the limit. You've never been put or allowed yourself to be put in a box from a musical standpoint. And I wanted to ask you, what were some of the inspirations behind the new album, Detour?
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying that, and that's very kind. Yeah, I don't know. Inspiration is a fuzzy subject for me. I don't really understand what the inspiration is. Luckily I just get ideas for music, and then I just enjoy the process of following those little, trains of thought to where they go and turning them into songs, and then turning the songs into records. And through that whole process, you just get ideas that hopefully are creative and fresh. Usually if I hear something that I feel like is too similar to something I've done before, I'll try and shy away from it and see if I can come up with something more original. But it's always going to be me. And so maybe that's the thread that runs through it. But hopefully, like you said, I'm trying to be consistent and push the envelope at the same time.
To me, one of the things that the creative process of making music is always finding that kind of muse, something that inspires you to push yourself behind the limits. And I've always thought that you've had the ability to put all of your emotions, not only in your live music, as far as live concerts and being able to connect to so many people, but you've always shared so much of yourself through your music. How have you been able to kind of balance that line and still keep that somewhat mystery around Boney James, but at the same time still kind of let us in on who you are behind the music?
Well, thank you. That's an interesting question. The thing about it for me is when I'm working on a record, I'm only going to really start working on songs that are calling to me in a certain way. And then I don't let other people hear it until when I listen back to it, I'm feeling something, like me just as a listener, that the music is communicating something to me that I can sort of, tangibly feel. And that to me is sort of when I know that, all right, well, this is ready to sort of go out there into the world. And apparently other people are responding to it as well, and they can feel it too. So all I can ever really know is making me feel something. And that's always sort of like the barometer that I'm using to say whether a song is finished or not.
I didn't get an opportunity to ask this before, but I'm going to do it now. I've seen you perform on several occasions, and you give so much of yourself musically and emotionally in your live performances. How long does it take you to actually come down from that kind of euphoria after a performance?
It takes some time. If we get off stage at 11 o'clock, I'm up till like 2 or 3 for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and that's definitely those are my favorite moments. When we had a great show, and I'm sort of back in my room and eating my dinner finally, and it's just a great feeling. That's sort of like, it's not like really a high, it's just a real sense of accomplishment I guess I have, and it's a great thing. I love that feeling, and that's one of the reasons I keep doing it.
During that quarantine period, it gave everyone an opportunity to gain somewhat self-reflection. And I know how you have a very special relationship with all, I don't like to use the term fans because it's very generic. People who truly love your music and people being cut off from that music. How are you able to kind of maintain during that, as far as the mental aspect during the quarantine, and at the same time keep yourself kind of evenly killed, not being able to go out and perform live?
Well, it was difficult. I mean, I think I went a little crazy, as I know many people did during that whole period. It was a difficult time for the whole planet. And I guess that was one of the positives out of it, that we all were sharing this incredible experience together. And I think that's brought, certain segments of people together, even though it's driven other segments of people apart, as the world is. But, yes, it's just a really interesting time to live through, certainly.
Well, you give so much love in all of your music. And I must say, listening to the entire album, 2 of the extra songs that I really, truly became enamored with was Sway and Memphis, especially Memphis. You killed that. And I want to ask you, how do you think you did on the overall project?
Oh, I'm really, really proud of the record. I just think that the melodies that I was able to come up with on some of these great tracks that I collaborated with some incredible musicians on, but, just my part, of the melodies and the performance of the saxophone and the sound of the tone of the horn, just the feelings that hopefully people can